911 location of your emergency.
Breaking news out of North Idaho. Moscow police are investigating a homicide on King Road.
Is she breathing?
No.
So 5'10", all black. Could you see what color his eyebrows were or anything like that?
No, I don't remember what his eyes look like either.
Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, but no weapon has been located at this time.
Arrested. That's 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger in custody today.
Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false.
We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Hey, you guys. Sorry, I had to go run and turn the AC down another degree because it is hot today. Holy shit. It's been pretty dillable, I guess, for the majority of the day. When the sun starts to go down, it's hot for like a few hours. And this is the first time it's been like kind of uncomfortable. You know, summer. You know, Texas summer, you know. Yeah. The fact that it's June and it sucks so bad and the worst is in like August going into September. This is like the worst part of Texas. Damn. Damn heat. Oh my God. Okay. How's everyone doing? I hope y'all are having a great day. Make sure this is muted. We are going to go through some documents in the EWU Media versus Moscow FOIA lawsuit. Sarah posted these earlier today. It has a bigger list, a longer list of the way that they were sending in their FOIA request. And guys, so I posted a video the other day and it was like, file a FOIA with me. And I just like had the screen up. And it was my music that I have. And you're just like watching me like type in what I'm typing in. It's just like the screen, like watching what the screen is doing, right? And I jokingly said, like, I could teach a mini class on this. I don't think it's a joke anymore. When you see the way that EWU was writing some of these requests, the way that they have submitted them to the court, you know, I can't really argue a lot with the city attorney that I don't like very much when her response is, this is too vague. This is too broad. The way that they write things, you're going to see why I think they got some of the responses that they got. And that's just a few things that I've seen. I haven't looked through a shit ton of it. We're going to look through it all right now. I am going to pull these up. They're not on the drive. Let me go pull up Sarah's Twitter account real quick. What is happening over here? There's like some plastic or something hitting, and it's making that like rubbing up against something stuff. Okay, so if you guys have Twitter, or you know what? I don't know if you have to have Twitter to see a public page. I don't know how that works. But there is Sarah's Twitter. This is where I got the document some hours ago. It has the respondent's request and records log, which is EWU's basically like list of the things that they FOIA'd. And then the city attorney, Mia Batista's responses. Some of it's email form. But I'm also just like interested in the fact that Mia Batista is the one responding to them, because I don't think I ever had anything from her in way of like the way that I send my FOIAs in. I've always ever gotten a response from Amber for the majority. Maybe there was like maybe one from the city attorney that responded. know why she's the one responding, unless they, because of how big the media corporation is and how long that they've been operating. Maybe that's why they wanted the city attorney herself to respond to these. I don't know. So we're going to take a look and see what's going on here. Hey there, Sprinkle. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for being a member for 4 months. Thank you for the gifted membership, Jen. Thank you for the gifted membership, Miller Time. Congratulations to those 2 who got those. Don't forget, we have our members only live on the 29th. I already have it posted. And we're going to do, I think, like 3 giveaways in that one. I think I have it set to like 5:15 this coming Monday on the 29th. That should be like a good little, like in the middle. Should be a good little in the middle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull these up so that we can see the way that they are requesting some of these things. Fix this over here. Yeah, there's like something. I'm going to have to take something apart over here and see what's making that noise. Y'all might not be able to hear it, but I can hear it. It's getting on my nerves. Make this bigger so you guys can see everything. And then I go over here. Okay. Okay, let me make a banner so people know what we're looking at. Yeah, maybe it's this. I have one of those desks that has the buttons that make it go like up and down, like where you can stand on it. I think maybe it's something with that on this side. I'm gonna have to check it. I've had this for a while, so it might be needing something out. Okay, let's see. EWU versus Moscow FOIA lawsuit. Records, request, logs, and response. Okay. Everything's spelt right. Yep, everything's good. Okay. Okay. So when was this filed? The 22nd. This was filed 6/22. And let's see, this was ordered to be entered as of May 18th, 2026. It reflects the city's responses to the specific records identified by EWU in its request and does not purport to be a comprehensive inventory of all records in the city's possession that may be related to the Bryan Kohberger investigation. The Idaho Public Records Act requires that a request specifically describe the subject matter and the request sought, and that the request be as specific as possible so that the city can identify responsive records with reasonable effort. Where EWU's request did not provide sufficient specificity to identify particular records, the city requested additional information in order to locate and respond to those specific items. This log reflects those interactions. This log is organized chronologically by request. For each request, the log identifies the specific records sought by EWU, the city's response and any objections, and the fees assessed where applicable. Where records were produced or made available, that is noted. Where records were identified as created by another agency, EWU was directed to submit its request to the custodian of that agency's records. The requests and responses referenced in this log are documented in the declaration of Amy James. We went over some of that stuff last time. And I think that was the documents that we caught up with before the last hearing to like just get up to date right before we watched everything go down. The exhibits attached thereto and supplemented by the declaration of Mia Bautista. Is it Bautista? Or Bautista? Filed contemporaneously herewith. Except as supplemented by the declaration of Mia Bautista, the city does not dispute that the request and responses set forth in the James Declaration accurately reflect the communications between the parties. For July 11, 2025, EWU's initial request. EWU submitted a formal public records request through the city's portal seeking investigative materials related to the Bryan Kohberger investigation, including video recordings, audio recordings, photographs, communications, and other evidentiary materials. again, we went through some of that stuff already. And then on July 14th, the city denied the 11th request in its entirety pursuant to the gag order. The gag order was still in place. This was like right in between everything, which we sort of figured nothing was going to be released. I mean, it was going to be a huge waste of time to try to get information from them until after the sentencing, because we already knew we were in that in between. So sending in a request, I mean, if they were following along with the court stuff, then they definitely should have already known the gag order was still there. Like nothing had changed when it came to the records at this point. So then after everything was lifted, which didn't take much longer, they started filing more requests. Now, in this one, it says July 23rd. And in the one request, it shows they had all of these in the one single request. So it says all interrogation footage filmed in relation to the case in video format, in audio if the interview is not filmed. All interview footage filmed in relation to the case in video format, in audio if the interview is not filmed. All witness interviews related to the case in video format, audio if the interview is not filmed. Crime scene photos, crime scene videos, evidence photos, evidence videos, all 911 calls recorded in relation to the case in audio format, police reports, all body camera footage recorded in relation to the case in video format, all dash camera footage filmed in relation to the case in video format, all CCTV surveillance footage related to the case in video format, all video recordings and audio recordings related to the case, all phone evidence related to the case. So now we have, what date was that? Was that like the next day, right? Yeah. So now we have July 24th. The city responded globally to EWU's request. Due to the volume and the breadth of the request, the city was unable to make a record-by-record determination at that time. See, this is one that a lot of people ended up getting. I first saw someone talking about this over on Twitter when this first happened, and they had like a snippet where it showed that they were trying to charge $20K. So then I took that snippet and I emailed the FOIA department, and I was like, is this accurate? Like, is this really the amount that y'all quoted someone? And they verified to me before I ever sent my request in. Yes, that's legitimately our letter, everything. We sent that. Okay, so then I did my request just to see. Sure enough, it's in the Google Drive. $20K is what they told us for all of the information that they had on file for this case. And we know that that's like probably not even counting what they really have, because how much of it have they found because they've had to go back and look in other places because of how disorganized they are. So this $20,000 one was real. That it happened with a lot of people. July 29th through August 14th, there was correspondence between EWU and the city attorney. On July 29th, EWU responded to the city's July 24th letter via email, disagreeing with the broad cost estimate and requesting an itemized explanation, and presented several questions to the city. Yeah, I would have really loved, because I didn't see it when I was like skimming, for them to have told us $20,000. I would have really loved for them to have had to have given that to us in an itemized statement. Because you know how like now they break it down? Like if a detective has to check on something, there's a billable hour for that. Then the redactor, and then the paralegal lady, and then the city attorney, which is like $103 an hour. So it would have been really interesting to see them try to break down $20K and justify $20K back then. That would have been insane to read. It would have been all bullshit. Okay, let's see. Several questions. Okay, then, so that was on July 29th. On August 8th, 2025, EWU submitted an additional public records request seeking all communications between the Moscow Police Department and KYVB7 regarding their public records request, along with the underlying materials provided or discussed in that context. Is that the crime scene photos? Is that who got the crime scene photos? Let me check the date that we went live for review of the ones that came out publicly. August 24th. It seems. Hold on, let me make sure. Maybe not. Hold on. No, that says Idaho State Police. It's going to be the one with the blurry bed. That was the one. I can hear my big old kid. Let me call him and tell him to lower it while I'm looking for this. I'll have to text him. Okay, let's see. Because these came out on mainstream and they showed us like really blurred images. And now I'm really curious if they blurred them or if they were sent to them blurred by MPD, because the way that we see MPD doing photographs is with black boxes. Like, I know we went live over it, but what I typed in wasn't working. Mm-mm. Like, I'm not going to be satisfied until I see the thumbnail that I know that I should be seeing from when we went over this. Maybe not. You know what? Let me check the video. Because those were the ones that when I called to like verify they were in the photos. Like, how come I'm having issues finding this? Found it. Yeah, August 8th. August 8th, 2025 is when we went live going over the crime scene photos that were released in the public to the media. So remember when she told me, yep, August 8th, 2025. Yep, that's when we went live over here. I just found it. This one right here. August 8th, when we went through all these photos. And that's when I was questioning, like, okay, so, yeah, see these ones. So that answers my question because, like, she told me, well, it doesn't answer my question. I guess it sort of does, but not really. Because technically, somebody else could have FOIA'd those photos and given them to the news people. That's always been something that I've, like, just wondered. But she did tell me that only one entity got the full-on photos that still had the bedrooms in them. Just the one. So I wonder if they're going to have anything from this. Because, again, like I said, someone else could have FOIA'd those photos and given them over to KYVB to publish. Maybe even sold them to KYVB to post. That's why I mean, it's on the list of things that I want to FOIA and find out about is who it was. But if it is KYVB, then there's no reason to, because that's just, that makes sense. But after that one entity got those photos, they redacted them and removed the bedrooms from everything. Oh, thanks for the reminder, Lori, and thanks for the 5. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, Miller Time. Thank you so much for that. Hey there, Mystic Sin. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I think, let me make sure. I'm pretty sure that, I don't want to like say it wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the same username from earlier. Hold on a minute. So most of the time, whenever like people send me something on PayPal or Cash App, it's not when I can actually like see them. Yes, thank you. I got your Cash App earlier. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm glad I saw that. I don't really hardly ever get to like thank y'all on the live. Thank you for the gifted membership to Horror Movie Gal. I appreciate that. Thank you. And congratulations to those who ended up getting those. Don't forget, members only live giveaways. Members only live giveaways. Okay. Let's see. Based on EWU's subsequent written and telephone communications with the city attorney, along with the absence of any follow-up from EWU regarding this specific request, the city understood EWU to have withdrawn this request in favor of its August 28th, 2025 modification. So they didn't get a response at all to that. And it was an actual FOIA. Don't you start. Can they legally just ignore it? I don't think they can legally just ignore it, right? They shouldn't be able to legally ignore it. On August 11th, 2025, the city attorney responded to EWU's July 9th, 2025 email explaining that EWU's request was overly broad, which was the basis for the large cost estimate, and advising that if EWU provided more specificity in the records it was seeking, the city would provide a more specified detailed cost estimate. On August 11th, 2025, EWU emailed the city attorney in response, asking several additional questions and again requesting a detailed cost estimate to process its original public records request. On August 11th, the city attorney responded to EWU's August 11th email, so same day correspondence, answering EWU's questions and again requesting that EWU provide more specificity in the records it was seeking before the city could provide a detailed cost estimate. The city attorney also advised EWU that if it disagreed with the city's response and considered it a denial, EWU had the right to appeal by filing a petition, and here's the code for right here, in the Second Judicial District Court within 180 calendar days. On August 12th, 2025, EWU responded to the city attorney's August 11th, 2025 email requesting all responsive records listed in the original July 23rd request and providing an order of priority, but did not provide the additional specificity previously requested by the city. On August 13th, 2025, the city attorney responded to EWU's August 12th email, indicating the request remained overly broad and requesting that EWU provide additional specifics such as the date of the video, the specific officers involved, the type of footage sought, and an order of priority. And then it says on August 24th, EWU responded to the city, providing additional specificity regarding the records sought and EWU's preferred order of priority, meaning they gave more detail, and then EWU also told them which ones were more important than others, which ones they wanted looked at and handled first. EWU's August 14th, 2025 modification is reflected in the table below. 4 categories of what? EWU submitted a modification to its July 23rd, 2025 request, reorganizing it into 4 prioritized categories. All right. So let's see the way that they were asking for stuff. Video records are considered a high priority, and they are section number 1. What did I miss? Oh, wow. Thank you for 5 more gifted memberships, Wellington. Koala Walla, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hey there, Natasha. Thank you for being a member for 6 months. Thank you for being in here. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming in here with me, guys. I know it's, again, a little bit late, but this seems to be around the time that everything seems to be able to slow down. Okay. 1A, the body-worn camera footage from responding officers on November 13th, 2022, including footage from the scene, interviews with neighbors or witnesses, and any other moments of investigatory significance. You can't just send in a FOIA request and say, send me anything of investigatory significance, and think that they're going to give you an answer. That's crazy. Guys, y'all been doing this for how long? 10, 15 years? What do you mean? Any moments of investigation? You realize the paralegals are the ones that are going through that stuff, right? They don't know shit from shit. They're not the What? See why I said in the beginning that for some of these, I can't be mad at them saying, yeah, I can't give you this because I don't know what you're asking me for. It's too broad. It's too vague. I don't know. Every freaking thing we've gotten is of investigatory significance. You can't just say that and walk away. That's crazy. Certain body-worn camera footage previously released, Officer Nunes. BWC footage available upon payment. Applicable fees. Review ongoing for unreleased footage was the city's response. Then it said $30 duplication fee for Officer Nunes. Previously reviewed and prepared for release. No cost estimate issued for BWC footage. I'm pretty positive that Connor has paid for all of the body cam footage that has been released in this case. I know for a fact he's got the majority of it over here. I don't recall if he was the first person to post Officer Nunes' body cam or if it was Law and Crime. It might have been Law and Crime. But pretty much after that one body cam footage, oh no, everything's Connor's. I'm going to put this in the chat too. There's the link right here for Connor's channel. Yeah, he has come in here and gotten everything. He's got all of Snyder's, and we've gone through all of these too. God, there's like so much in this stuff. Conversations, just little bitty things that are just like eye-catching. They definitely catch your attention, just small little things. And if we didn't have all this additional body cam like from Gunderson, then we wouldn't have footage out here in the public of the 1112 SD card being handed over to Gunderson. If it wasn't for Connor getting that footage, we wouldn't even have it. Snyder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gunderson is down here for number 2. Then part 1 is up here. Here's number 6 for Snyder. And then the Showalter phone call. Bethany Funk's interview. I don't know who got that one first. I know that there were several different channels that were trying to get Bethany and Dylan's interviews. And I think Zav Girl is the one who got Jack to Coors first, but I haven't seen her produce anything else from that. See, here's Nunes right here. And then Gunderson 3. And then all the interviews. Warner. Yeah, Warner too. We wouldn't know. We wouldn't know about the way that Hunter Johnson interacted with Warner about the knife sheath if we didn't have that one either. And then, of course, we have the body cam footage from when the bodies were being removed. There's still some hours for that too. Once I feel like the majority of the stuff that I have on the list right now is being filed, I need to go in and I need to see the hours for Officer Morris's body cam, because we saw the section where it's supposed to be Ethan and Xana being taken out of the house. And then it seems like there's a piece in between part 1 and part 2. And then we also know from other documentation, because of Blaker going with them, with Kaylee and Maddie's bodies to the funeral home, that there's additional hours after that fact. So there's at least 2 more sections, I believe, of Officer Morris's body cam that we should be able to get. Plus, no, I don't think Blaker's wearing one. But we know from like the timing that it took them that there's definitely like 2 more sections at least. Yeah, he's gotten all of these interviews. Now, earlier today, Bronx Tales played Mason Barstow's interview. I went and I was screen recording it so that we can whatever. And I'm glad I did, because the pieces where, well, for one, whatever the frick they sent her has a eternal glitch. It literally blinks at you the whole time. And there's massively long sections of silence. So I'm going to do the way that I did last time and just be like, a 5-second little pop-up of this is how many minutes or whatever that I removed because there was nothing happening. But major glitchy, decently long interview. Pretty long interview, lots of silence. And Mason Barstow is important because Kaylee was seeing that guy. And Xana had seen that guy. And there's just a lot of conversation there. Lots of conversation there. There's a lot of triangles of things. And it's interesting because the piece of the chapter of the book that we're getting into is talking about Jack DeCour's 11:15 interview. And I checked on that one earlier, and they're on vacation. They've got lots of vacations coming up or happening or some shit like that. On top of the fact they're closed on Fridays at the FOIA place for MPD. So it's going to be a little bit longer, apparently, than what we originally thought for getting the 11:15 interview. But it's interesting because going in through chapter 11, because I went ahead and read it earlier because that was what we were going to go live about. And then I realized after getting on Twitter and Sarah having these posted that we should just go ahead and go over this because I've been wanting to compare their FOIAs to our FOIAs and see like what they've asked for versus what we've asked for, the way that things are going. So this felt like it was more important than the book that we already know is horribly wrong. And, just per tracking, the first paragraph on chapter 11 is wrong about 1,500 things, but the section where he has the report of Jack DeCour's 11:15 interview, I guess when we were reading the reports when they first came out, remember we did those massive marathons of lives to just try to read everything that we could and see what the hell was happening. Lots of information. Okay. I don't remember the report saying that after having a conversation about like the phone calls and stuff like that, basically a few minutes after that, according to the way that it's written, he got up and went to go talk to his mom and then came back in and said that he didn't want to speak anymore without an attorney. And so the interview ended there. 2 days later on the whatever one it was it the 18th or the 17th? The 17th, the one that we got first where they talk about the 17-minute call. That happens after he wants to stop talking and get an attorney. And I'm like, they have all these questions. He's not being honest about understanding these calls and pretending like he doesn't know about these missed calls and like he doesn't know about the 17-minute call. And you just let him walk out and he could be doing all kind of stuff to his phone and deleting all kind of things. Like they already have so many issues with Snapchat and a lot of the stuff that he's saying was going on and a bunch of other conversations were going on with Snapchat. So he shells up after talking to his mother, shells up, says, I'm done talking and gets an attorney. And he just walks out with his device. This is the man that they didn't fingerprint. He was the literal number one suspect on all the forensic reports. It's literally there in the public all the way through. Even after Bryan Kohberger was arrested, Jack DeCour's name was never removed from the ISP records. They meaning the defense, asked for Jack DeCour's fingerprint information that was not on file in January of 2025. And what did we see from the documentation? They didn't even bother to go and actually have him fingerprint for another 5 months in June, right before the plea. How are you going to clear someone that you don't have the fingerprints of and that you've left as the number one suspect even after your defendant has now been arrested and is facing all the trial and everything is ongoing, and you still don't remove Jack DeCour's name as the number one suspect? And that's another thing that Chris Whitcomb repeats a lot in that chapter is that all the people that they're talking about, Jack DeCour included, were never considered suspects or persons of interest. Are you illiterate? His name is on all the reports as the number one slot the whole time. What do you mean? A lot of stuff about Jack bothers me. Just a lot of stuff about Jack bothers me. Give me 1 second. Okay, so that was like the one. Okay. So then the small station got the photos. Law and Crime got the Noons video. And Connor got all the rest of them after that. So mainstream media The mainstream media does everything they can to twist the shit out of these cases, right? We see it. All the footage on the 1112 cameras, and this channel paid for the redactions with that. No mainstream companies thought any of that was worth looking at. No investigative journalist from, I don't know, Idaho Statesman or, anything thought that hours outside of that little segment of time were important at all, especially considering as time was going by and we were realizing that we had no information for Xana and Ethan and there was all these issues and none of them thought it was important. And I think Gray Hughes is the one who paid for the camera footage for, like, when the cops are getting there until like 1 o'clock, you'd think some documentary place. So, I mean, all these damn documentaries and all these freaking movies and shit that's being made out of this case, and none of those companies paid for actual factual information that they can use. That's what I'm just still so just like floored about. And like the chain of custody thing, why did no one else bother that is out there talking about this? Anjanette Levy, Law and Crime, Kevin Fixler, the Idaho Statesman, Brian Enton, all of the big people that have all these big names on them, Nancy Grace, all of them. How come none of them have done any of this? I just don't quite get it. Except I do get it because I understand that it's nothing to them. It doesn't matter. It's just another story on the teleprompter that they don't have to think about, that they don't have to remember anything because somebody else is doing the remembering for them. It doesn't matter to them. And then they make us look like the bad guys when we're the ones actually digging and trying to like figure out what the hell's going on, since there's no story from anyone, literally anyone of any authority. It's just wild. It's just so wild. Okay. Let's get on with this dumb shit now. So the only one they gave them an answer to at the time, because of how they wrote it in there, and it doesn't have an officer's name, it doesn't have a date, it doesn't have any of that stuff. They only gave them the $30 duplication fee for Noons, and then they didn't estimate anything else for the rest because they weren't specific enough. I mean, again, investigatory significance. I agree with them denying that because, come on. Interrogation footage. All suspect interrogations, including video and audio, were available. Now, their response was the city requested names or initials of people MPD officers interviewed. Footage conducted by MPD available upon payment of fees and upon EWU providing names or initials of persons interviewed to allow identification of specific records. See, that was something that I was wondering, like before I started actually like interacting with Connor. I was like, how is he figuring out who the frick the people are to get these interviews? Because it's just initials like on the reports, right? And so many people are a freaking mystery in this case. I didn't know that you could just submit initials. I thought you had to have like full on names, more info than that. So the fact that it's just like initials and the EWU couldn't even be bothered. I mean, come on, y'all got a lot of people working for y'all. These requests are very lazily written. It's like they just want to ask for everything available so that they can just pick through all of it and have all of it for just in cases instead of doing the work ahead of time. Like, I really wonder if this is how they do all of their requests. I really wonder, because this is like, I don't know how they've gotten so much footage. Because there's no way that other people are not denying them this way. I mean, we know that that's not true. Like, that this is just for MPD, because we've seen the history of the other lawsuits and stuff and things that have gone on with them and trying to get records from other places. So, a little percentage of that is just the way, the way they actually write them. If you want to be so serious. Yeah, see, too broad, can't answer you. Okay. Witness and family interviews, friends and family of Bryan Kohberger, and friends and family of the victims. And again, they just said overly broad. Plus, it says here, interviews conducted by FBI or ISP, EWU directed to submit requests directly to the originating agency. But see, for the Idaho State Police, that's bullshit. Because if you ask Idaho State Police for any damn thing, they tell you that they gave everything over to the Moscow Police Department because they were the lead agency. I have it in every single one of my responses. So for the city to be telling EWU, oh, if ISP did the interview, then you've got to ask them, that's bullshit. Literally all of the interviews conducted by the frat people were all requested by MPD, even though they were done by an ISP officer. Everything from with Jack to Core that we were paying for, all ISP officers, all being requested and handled through the Moscow Police Department. So this right here is definitely a lie. And there's no way that EWU doesn't know that by now, unless they've not bothered filing anything with the Idaho State Police. I don't know. They didn't file anything against them. This is just Moscow only. Moscow only. Okay. No cost estimate, too broad, blah, 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 all the bullshit. Okay. CCTV footage, any video showing the victims, the suspect, or activity related to the crime. Again, this is just as dumb as saying, give me anything with investigatory significance. These are just horribly put together. Request is overly broad. City has certain surveillance footage, surveillance video from 11/12. So at this point, they're told, hey, if you want 11/12, it's been done. Dupe fee. Remember, they had that public packet out for a long time. I don't know when the date for this is. What was the date for this one? That had to be the public packet. Now, that was the public packet. That was 3:30 to 4:30. And I honestly, Idaho Statesman, I believe, was the first one to put that out. Pretty positive. The one that we ended up having to review for that before we ended up getting our own while we were in the process of getting the rest of it, just so that we could go ahead and like have it. Pretty positive that it was the Idaho Statesman. I'm pretty positive. I'm sure the dates add up. And I hate giving Kevin Fixler a freaking up on anything, but I'm pretty sure that it was them. So there's a $30 cost for that one. And then it says additional surveillance footage. City was unable to identify specific responsive records without additional information. See, now what EWU could have done here, because at this point we had motions in limine and we have an FBI like report that has all of the timestamps and the addresses, the number and the actual street name of all the different pieces of surveillance footage that they had on file that they say is related to this case. Well, again, we know that the Idaho Statesman did go in. Again, Idaho Statesman is the first one I believe had this too, and got like Ridge Road and a couple other ones. We see like the ones where the little car that's definitely not the car they want you to think it is passing by at like 9 o'clock in the morning in front of the gas station. The Idaho Statesman got all of those. They had all those addresses. EWU could have pulled up actual court records and given them all of the addresses in a row. They literally could have just copied and pasted the entire string of addresses and said, these are the footages that I want. Instead of it just being this very overly vague thing. So again, laziness. They could have went and grabbed it and done this differently. Phone dump of Kohberger's phone. EWU directed to submit requests directly to the originating agency, which would be the feds, and the feds are not releasing shit at all. The letter saying that anything they did in this case is on loan to the police department. Have you ever heard of evidence being loaned? I've heard of tools being loaned, evidence tools being loaned, people being loaned to work in the investigation. I've never heard of the actual investigative reports and evidence files being considered on loan, like a freaking art exhibit. That's crazy as shit. I'm so tired of them making up crap. Audio records, interviews, 911 calls, or other audio records related to the case. City has the 911 call recording available upon payment of the duplication fee. Yeah, this was whenever that came out too. Who had that first? It was a local mainstream channel. I'm pretty positive. So then this says, or other audio records related to the case. So, hold on. What could they possibly be talking about here? Like other interviews? Additional audio interview recordings. So it says the city is unable to identify specific responsive records without additional information, but then they still estimate them $1,370 for 15 hours of staff time. If you can't find any responsive records without additional information, how are you giving them an estimate? Oh my God. Okay. Photographs, relevant photos from the scene. City has MPD taken crime scene photos previously. Oh, it's cut off. Why would y'all do that? Ugh. Okay. So this is photographs, relevant photos from the scene, evidence or investigative activity. The city response is city has MPD taken crime scene photos. The ones that Snyder took. Snyder. Previously reviewed and redacted photographs available upon payment of duplication fee. That's after they already came out and removed the photos. City maintains a copy of these records, but does not maintain control over or authority to decimate these records. For what? Investigative activity? EWU directed to submit requesting directly to originating agency. Would that be the feds? Because who knows anymore? $30 duplication fee for the crime scene photos. Oh, okay. So it looks like what they're talking about here about additional stuff is also about photographs. But I mean, what could she be possibly talking about? Idaho State Police? When did they start releasing their stuff? August 22nd, 2025 is the first date that the Idaho State Police released anything to us. Yeah, and they haven't dropped a damn thing since. And what date was this? Yeah. After. In between, really? So 8/14 request, August 25 response. So at the time that they sent the request in on August the 14th, this August 22nd, 2025 drop of photographs had not been released. But before the city responded, they were released, and it changed the way that they would have gotten their original response. Huh. I wonder how different it would have been. But then again, at the same time, I don't really quite understand why that's... Did something change all of a sudden? Did something change all of a sudden? Because I'm telling you, like anything that... that's why I am going in and requesting from ISP first before I ask MPD for it, because they've tried to act like stupid about stuff before. But when it came to anything for ISP, like they're the lead, and I've always gotten everything from MPD. And ISP straight up says that they don't have it. It got sent over. So this denial here is just so much different than what I'm used to. That's just so much different. Document already received. No additional documents needed at this time. What is this? Documents? Oh, I guess because of like court stuff. Okay, so then it starts talking about the temporary restraining order from when Maddie's mom sued the city, and then the Chapins minus Hunter jumped onto the lawsuit as well about how they didn't want anything of the victims' bedrooms out there, which is so interesting that they decided to go with the city of Moscow for that, considering that Moscow didn't do shit hardly at all in this case. They went and took photos like the one time. I mean, they might have took other ones, but when it comes to like the evidence stuff, all the main photos were all taken by ISP and the feds. So why did Maddie's mom not include the like state police on this? Is there different rules, I guess? Then, I mean, I don't know. I don't know really how this would work. I don't see how like the stipulations are different, because Moscow seems to just change their freaking FOIA rules willy-nilly without telling you ahead of time. Like they just roll with the changes. Like how now the families get to double check shit. Like the redactions get done, and then the families get to say if they're okay with what's coming out, or if they want something additional taken out. I even asked her the one time, okay, so if they decide that they don't want this released at all, and we've already paid all the money and y'all have already done all of the redactions, does that mean that y'all can like deny it after already approving it and like take my money back and stuff like that? She didn't have an answer. So while they were implementing these new protocols, they had nothing to go off of in way of what they were really supposed to do with the new protocol. They were just willy-nilly with all of it. And so as far as I'm understanding, like they can't just like change the way that they do their FOIA stuff, can they? Just all the time, because this is different than what it was in the beginning. I mean, than what it is now with their answers for things. Like there's a lot of changes here. Just everywhere. But I don't see how Idaho's rules could be different from Moscow's rules. Like, shouldn't they be the same because Moscow is inside of Idaho? So if she would have gotten a lawsuit against the state of Idaho, would it not have also implemented those exact same laws in Moscow because it's in Idaho? So, because on it, like seriously, the whole thing was for nothing. The Idaho State Police didn't listen. I mean, obviously they have their own rules about just not like having their faces and stuff out there, which obviously, right? But when it comes to all of the freaking photographs inside the bedrooms, we have thousands. We have thousands of photographs from inside the bedrooms from the Idaho State Police. So what was the point of this? Was it just the ones that Moscow had of like the victims inside the bedrooms? Because the Idaho State Police has their own of those too. I guess I just don't really quite understand what was the point. But also the same thing, like I don't understand the point of the Goncalveses having Shannon Gray as an attorney and him coming in and talking about the gag order and all this shit and making it sound like it was going to like matter. There's just so much unnecessary. There's so much unnecessary shit that happens in this case. A lot of it. August 28th, 2025, EWU's second modification and September 15th, 2025 response. Now, this is the second modification narrowing its request to specific categories organized by supplemental report number: body-worn camera, watchguard events, interview recordings, surveillance/video evidence, audio recordings, jail calls, lab/forensic media. But then, like, I feel like what I'm about to say is really relevant and totally possible, and this should be a thing. But I also feel like maybe it's not, and it's going to be something too far. Is the lab not recorded? Like, is there not cameras inside of the lab, like in certain places, just like in certain angles, recording what's happening inside of the lab that could like record when the Q-tips and stuff were, you know, whatever, when the knife sheath was actually swabbed? I feel like there should be, if there's not cameras, there should be. Like, I feel like there should be. So I wonder if there is, if we could maybe FOIA that stuff if it exists. I don't know if it exists. How do I ask that without them instantly lying to me? Right, like there better be. I need to ask them, because I highly doubt there's anywhere online I can just get that answer. I need to find the answer. Because I want the footage, especially since we have the discrepancy with the snap. And it's more confusing the more information we get, you know, just like everything else. Because the emails, you know, let's just reiterate for a minute. The emails that we have Rylene Nowlin saying that pieces of the knife sheath were swabbed, excluding the metal button. And then in her very next response, she's describing which parts of the metal button were swabbed minus the parts that weren't. And she's claiming that all of that is based off of having a conversation with the tech that actually did the swabbing. And then also like going over her own investigative, not like her own investigative, but her like reading the report that was actually written regarding the swab in the knife sheath. But there's literally nothing in any of those documents that mention the button. So did she review cameras? Cameras, maybe? I'm going to try to get an answer to that. I just don't know if they'll lie to me. Because if I call and ask, then they probably can try to lie to me. But maybe if I just like straight up file a FOIA and be like, I want your lab cameras. Then if they do have lab cameras, they can't lie to me about having lab cameras. So that's probably the better way to do it, because they can't lie to me without being like in a lot of trouble if it's a FOIA request. But if I call and make a phone call, they can lie to me because it ain't official. I'm just going to put a request in. Because I'm, I don't know another way to do it without like not trusting it. I mean, I won't trust it as, hardly, but it'll be more than just making the phone call. Okay, so let's see. Where the log reflects that EWU was directed to submit a request to another agency, this is because the records sought were created by another law enforcement agency or government entity, such as the FBI, the Pennsylvania State Police, Latah County Sheriff's Office, Ada County, Washington State University, or Pullman Police Department in the course of the investigation. The city is not the custodian of those records, and EWU has been directed to submit requests for those records directly to the originating agency. But notice how the Idaho State Police isn't listed right here. It's FBI, the Pennsylvania State Police, Latah County, Ada County, Washington State University, or Pullman Police Department. Now, Pullman Police Department, I got records from directly. I haven't requested anything from WSU because that's just like HIPAA stuff. They're not just going to release stuff. But in the Pullman records came a lot of stuff from WSU, so we got some of it. Ada County is just the court documentation, except if you consider the fact that I said I wanted to FOIA the threats and stuff that were going into the courthouse, because the documentation states that some of those had to be forwarded over to the sheriff's department. Now, we also know when it comes to the Pennsylvania State Police that we try to FOIA the Kohberger interview, and they straight up said, you can't have it. If anything that's allowed to be public, we put it on our public website. That's where we had the search warrant for the house, where we saw the stuff from the car. We had like the inventory reports we went over a long time ago. So you have to do like this in person, file some sort of like subpoena with the court, blah, 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 whatever. And at the end of the day, it wouldn't mean shit to go to Pennsylvania or try to do anything else with Pennsylvania, because after everything, MPD said the FBI is not letting it out. The FBI is most likely also involved in the reason why the transcript and the pocket recorder is just magically gone. 3 different versions of this interview. Whatever was recorded at the barracks, whatever was on the recorder, which should be the same shit, and then the transcript. All 3 of those things should match. And all 3 of those things we're not allowed to have because 2 of them are missing, and the FBI doesn't want us to hear it for some reason. None of that sounds normal. Literally none of that sounds normal. Okay, so then we have August 28th through September 15th. And we have the initial scene response for 1122 King Road, and there's no information on there. Okay. All crime scene photos taken at or around 1122 King Road on 11/13/22 or during subsequent processing. Previously reviewed and redacted MPD crime scene photographs, $30 duplication fee. They were sent to them. all body-worn camera watch guard footage from the first 5 responding MPD officers at 1122 King Road on 11/13/22. They paid a duplication fee for all that stuff for Nunes, for Warner, for Snyder, for Gunderson, and for Smith. Nunes was paid for by Law and Crime. Everything else right here was paid for by Connor. Yeah. So this big, huge entity only had to pay the $30 duplication fee for all of that. 911 call, audio recordings for the unresponsive person report placed on 11/13, including dispatch audio, radio traffic, available upon payment of duplication fee, $30 fee. Surviving roommates and witness interviews recorded. Okay, so this is section 2. Oh, that's why it looks like that. Oh, that's why it's empty like that. It's like the beginning of the section. Okay, well, that makes sense. All right. Supplement number 42, surviving roommates first interviews, 11/13/22. And then it says, city was unable to identify a specific responsive record without additional information from EWU. What do you mean? Let me go see what supplement 42 is, because I don't know the supplement numbers off the top of my head to know if this is Dylan or Bethany. So let me look it up. Which one is it? Number 42. And that is number 35. This is Dylan's. So you're telling me these people are so stupid. They've already been told we need initials. At least initials. So you're telling me that you know that this is supplemental number 42, but you can't see that DM is the initials right there. You don't already know these people's names in order to put the initials into your request? Like, no wonder it's getting denied. They're not listening to the very simple things they're being told to do, and the information is readily available. These are the Moscow Police Department records, one of the very first pieces of evidence that we actually got as the public. So if they would have done that, they would have been able to actually maybe get the information. So we have supplement number 69, a witness interview. City unable to identify specific responsive records. Who's number 69? Like, they could have alleviated that. You know? Okay, what's this one right here? MC. This is Maisie. Talking about Xana, talking about Peter, talking about Kyle Fry, talking about Hunter Johnson. This is Maisie's interview. Witness interviews, supplement number 69. Do you know how disgusting you sound? Not knowing by context that this is one of the victim's triplet sisters in this interview? You're calling this just a witness interview. Tell me they don't give a shit. Tell me they don't really give a shit, guys. I don't have to like make you believe that these people only care about this because it's trending and it's a way for them to get a lot of views on their platforms. Witness interviews, and you can't tell by context and initials, that is one of the victim's triplet siblings. That's just like several people not giving an actual shit about what's really happening here. Supplement number 75, phone interview with Kaylee's friends. Is this the one about the September stuff? That might be that one. Yeah, they don't seem to give two shits. Yeah. Okay, so this is the one. I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to tell y'all this real quick. I wasn't going to tell y'all this until the master list was done, and I sort of alluded to something the other day, but I feel like I need to tell y'all this now because I need y'all to understand why I feel like this is a big deal, okay? And I'm going to look at the chat. I need to make sure you guys are paying attention to what I'm about to tell you. Because with everything that's been ignored in this case, the fact that this happened, I find bothersome. And I need you to tell me as people that have been watching me for months now, years now for some of you, and see the way that I think and the way that I look at things, if I'm over exaggerating the way that I feel about this, or if I should be feeling this way. You ready? So you know this interview that we are talking about right now, where the girls came out and told the officers, I'm getting chills talking about this. There's no way that there's not something to this, okay? The interview with the girls where they're telling the officer about the lunch they had in September and the story about Kaylee telling all of them about a problem and the like multiple girls that were talked to and how all of them have the same story. That interview, before Connor bothered to get it, was already paid for and never posted anywhere. That's the only one out of like 50 that was redacted before Connor got the chance to request it. It's the only one, besides Jack Decor, with the photo thing, but it's the only one that has a story of stalking. Multiple people know. They're all talking about it. One of them even remembers there being a story from back in May. The stalking narrative that they pushed aside this is the only interview with that information, and somebody already got it. And my instant reaction to Connor with that was, how could it not have been somebody who's worried about what might have been in this interview? Because why else would you only pay for that one and not release it to the public? Connor is the one who released it to the public. He paid a duplication fee for it and was shocked. So while I might be over exaggerating it a little bit, I feel like I'm not at the same time, because it's a very important interview. It leads back to problems if you pay attention to what the girls are saying before Kohberger even moved there. In September, the situation that Jack told us in the interview literally is the same timeline of this lunch where Kaylee would have been telling these girls all this information. So the shady stuff about somebody trying to buy Kaylee's nude photos, trying to get Maddie's nude photos, the lunch where 5 different girls remember having a story told to them by Kaylee about a stalking situation, that one was paid for, fully redacted, given to whoever paid for it, and it never hit the public. Does that not seem strange? I feel like it's odd. I don't know what to do with that information. I just know that since he told me that, it's bothered the shit out of me, because that's to me, one of the more important interviews that we've heard. Because not a lot of those people, if not really any of them, have a lot of ties to the other people that we've also heard interviews from. So this is a completely isolated but group situation. 5 different girls remember this story. They all talked about it. So I don't know. It tells me that somebody was worried that somebody might say something that would be out here. And that was really where the whole FOIA came from. Because I haven't really said that for too long here. That's kind of what kicked that off. And somebody's filed that. She sent me an email the other day that she asked for any request. I'm just going to go off the top of my head. Any requests that have been sent in, basically any request for the case in their current status is, I think, the way that she put it. So anything that's been requested for the case number itself and from the beginning of time, basically, to present. And if it's been denied, if it's been closed because it's been redacted and sent to them, if it's still open, any of those things. Any of those things. The one that we were just talking about, let me pull it up. I'll actually, you don't even need to go listen to me yapping through the whole freaking thing. I'm just going to give it to you from Connor's page so that you guys can go there and just listen to it without me talking, because you'll see the situation here. This is the first one right here. Let me show y'all what it looks like. So whenever y'all go try to find it, right here, Jordan Q and CW, we found the names. I have them over on my side. I looked them up on social media. Some of them are mentioned in this chapter 11 in the book that I was just talking about. And then I want to say that Rachel Rager also mentioned something, because they kind of like gave everybody like each other's numbers to the cops for Vargas to be able to talk to them about the situation. But yeah, they all went to a lunch with her, and the date is literally September 11th. That's why it sticks into my mind, like not just September, it was literally September the 11th. And they all have the same story, and all of the reports show that they have the exact same story. They just couldn't remember the exact details, but they all knew that she had said something to them. I just don't understand why. Like, it was this one right here with Jordan, not the Rachel one, but they have similar information in them. But this one right here, the Jordan Q and CW one, that's the one that had been paid for ahead of time and not released. And I'm just really curious as to who was curious. You know, who was curious? But this is the supplement right here. This is number 75. See, conversation came up regarding the stalker at a lunch with Kaylee. And another thing, this is also the report where they said that when speaking about childhood trauma, she does it in a joking manner. And that's also interesting that we're reading back through this again, because in the report we have, I'm not in the report, in the book in chapter 11, he's bringing up one of the other reports we have from another friend of Kaylee's that talks about how her and her mom did not have a good relationship at all. That they fought the whole time for freshman year. They were not close at all. This is where we got more information about Kaylee constantly having to do everything for herself. That's another reason why it bothers me. I don't care that they're her parents. That's another reason why it bothers me when they come out and they act like their lives with her were so shiny, and it's not the truth. There is so much proof out there that proves that things were not hunky-dory in that department. So when they come out and they speak, that's why I say it's victims before anything, because the people that have shame to be worried about, that are embarrassed by what might come out because of maybe their past history with their kid, the truth about why she has those scars on her arm, all those things might come out. A lot of people here lately have been saying that they remember Steve Goncalves making a statement about how, you know, the further this goes into trial, there's going to be stuff getting dug up out the mud and, you know, all these other things. I don't really know anymore if he was talking about the girls, not with the stuff that we already know about them. I don't really know if he's talking about the girls or if he's talking about himself. Maybe another choice set of parents. I don't know. Maybe both. Who knows? Who knows? But it bothers me when they come out and they just act like, when the reality, maybe Kaylee wouldn't be too happy about it because of her actual relationship with her parents. It's really sad that the stories, the true stories, don't get to come out because the only people that are left to tell them have a reason to lie. Have all the reasons to lie. Now they have 400 million reasons to lie. You know? Yeah, this was that report. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that it was paid for and didn't come out. I feel like that's crazy. And yeah, like anybody could have done it and not released it. That's cool. But why is that the only one so far of it that has like information in it? That's it. Duplication fee. Crazy. Super crazy. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Surviving roommate B interview. Oh my God. Okay. So for Bethany's, you can use the initial, but up here for Dylan's, you can't. You can't. I mean, it didn't matter. They got denied. That's ridiculous. Like, see this one? There's like no reason why they couldn't have given them that one. It has the date. It has her first initial. And it even has the time, I guess it starts, which is the 1300th hour, 1347. This being denied is bullshit. But honestly, like, the fact that they're getting told supplement number should be also enough. Like, I guess because they want initials is the reason why they're denying it. But when we're coming into this and they've got at least the first initial and they have a date, that just seems like a petty denial. Number 106, friend of victims. Okay, let's see. Which one? 108. Let's see who this one is. Let's travel down. What is this? 91, almost there. What number is it? I just lost my number. 106. That's 105. Okay. 106, Emily. Rep Payne's interview with Emily at the station. Okay. That one got denied. Which again, like, all these years later, like, we know these people's names. There's really not an excuse for just not putting the full initials. But with the supplement numbers and the dates, I feel like it's still, like, they just didn't want to deal with it. They ended up having to deal with it, though. Because other people FOIA'd it, got all the information. Okay, then we have supplement number 108, witness J from 11/11/22. Before the crime took place. Why did I close that freaking window? Oh my God. Oh, I didn't. I'm just looking at it wrong. Okay. 108. Josie? No. Is that Josie? JL. What's her last name? If this isn't Josie. Who is this? Is this Josie? Is it Louderin? Josie Louderin? I think that's her name. Hold on, Josie Louderin. Yeah, Louderin. So this is Josie. This is Josie right here. Yeah. Louderin. Okay. Okay, so then we have supplement number 114, Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, D. What? D. I know y'all didn't just put Jack Decor's name in there as a freaking nothing but a D. Oh my God. Just D? So for Bethany, they use the first initial of her first name. For Jack, they're using the first initial of his last name. They are just as disgustingly, ridiculously, ignorantly disorganized as the Moscow Police Department. Are y'all not seeing this? How is this a multi-million-dollar company when this is the way that they conduct clerk office shit? Like, are we for real? Are we for real? Oh my God. I mean, look. They are a multi-million-dollar corporation. They do this for a living, showing body cam. And this is how they request shit? I'm just shocked. Apparently, I'm going to have to do something to really dumb myself down to be any sort of success. Because what is this? My God. Okay. Can't fix stupid, Julia. Just continue your job. Okay. Damn. Supplement 271. Interview with KD on 4/12/24. I don't even have to look. That's Kai Davis. Because I was like, he was sleeping with Bethany. He was over at that house so much that his friends thought he was the male inside the house that died. And they didn't talk to him until April of 2024. Not April of 2023. April of 2024. Yeah, that was wild. And he was still talking to Bethany. he still knew about her life and all that stuff, which was super interesting. Now, supplement number 246, WSU student L from 10/10/23. Let's see. I should be able to tell who it is, hopefully by the context. I honestly cannot wait. Like, I know we've gone over so many of these reports, like more than once, but I honestly cannot wait until it slows down enough to where I can start doing like one-on-one, going back into all of the MPD reports and re-reviewing things and seeing if there's anything that we missed that we haven't been able to FOIA yet, because of it's just like on there, and just like go through them one a week, hopefully on like a Monday, and just handle everything at one time. If we see something needs to be FOIA it then, and just get it done and over with, and just one more good run through from each and every document, especially the ones that we have stuff to compare to. Body cam, audio, video, stuff like that. There's so many discrepancies in these reports. I mean, you might as well let AI do it, honestly. It's got just as many mess ups, just as many mistakes that make no sense. You might as well just let a damn computer do it. Why not? Dumb. All right, we're still looking for 246. This is 124. Let's pop down to 400. It's like not there yet. 450. $480. Two muchos. Hold on. Is that it? Is it 56? 46. Oh my God. Hold on. Oh, it's hurting my eyeballs. Okay, here it is. Let's see. KC. Oh, this is the one that we have not been able to go over yet, I think. Because he has really broken English, and I wanted to go over it first and try to like get an idea down. Is that him? See, we have this right here. Kai, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to say it wrong, but it's the the K, X, and then the C. Let me go back and look at this. I'm probably wrong. Well, maybe. Look, there's K. Maybe that's him. It looks like they might be putting the two first words together in one, and then chin by itself. I think this is him. And whatever his nickname is. See, okay, this is a summary of the interview with him, and it's not a verbatim representation. Yeah, from what I listened to, this sounds like some of the stuff that he said. Oh my God. Okay. I need to put that one on the list to do like soon here, so that we can, as I think that's like the only one from the ones that Connor has released that we haven't done yet, because I keep forgetting it's there. I need to put it on my board. Okay. Civilian statements. Supplement number 104, the DoorDash driver MM interview. They asked for the cognitive interview audio. Oh, I wish we could hear that. Oh my God. Duplication fee for the DoorDash interview. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Right here. Okay. And then reference surveillance clips 356 to 358 King and Queen Road, and then duplication fee because we already paid for those. No, that was in the public stuff, wasn't it? 330. Yeah, that wasn't us. That was the public hour slot or whatever. Okay. Supplement number 314, Pullman PD body cam 9424. Supplement 314. Okay. Oh my gosh. 302. 308. Leo. That was his nickname? Okay. Well, you know why? Because that interview with Adam was conducted before the 17th. I want to say it was the 17th. You know what? Ixnay, don't quote me on the date. We've done the video on this. That video of what did you say to Adam came out publicly from a Facebook group. If you've been here for a while, you know the history. I don't need to go on that damn rant about that crazy woman again. The interview with Adam took place before that was made public, and we never saw anything saying that he was interviewed again. I'm sure he would have been interviewed again. But you know what else we didn't hear? And I've been wanting to say this for a minute, because we talk about that. Why did they not ask Showalter what was said? Because they talked to Showalter several times. And for sure, after they spoke to him, before they spoke to him one of those times, had to have been when they already knew that that was a thing. Let me see the date that we actually went through that. Because Christie's Chaos had those out for a hot minute before we went over them. But I want to check the dates. Let me check Connor's channel. He'll have the dates on it. Hold on. Because if they didn't ask Adam, okay, cool. Even if you only talked to him like one time and you didn't find it important, whatever. But why would you not ask Jack Showalter? He was right there. He was in the middle of the conversation. Yeah. Okay. So 12/6/22 was Jack Showalter's second interview. Let's see if I can find something about like when the what did you say to Adam thing came out. Did we do it live? I know when we went over it, I mentioned it in the beginning of this, so hold on. Do I not have the date? Okay. Oh, maybe not. So I'm looking at the transcript of what I said when we went over Adam Lauda's interview, and it looks like that wasn't made public in the Facebook groups until December the 18th. So I guess they technically wouldn't have known on the 6th of December in order to ask Showalter. But there has to be something. Or what is it? That they just like call him up on the phone and not record it the way that they did a lot of other things here? I wonder. The timing don't work. But there's no way that after the police was sent that, after it went mainstream and went crazy stupid, that the cops didn't instantly talk to them. I bet you it's fed. Because that's just one day. That's just one day before MPD got the phone call from the FBI about Kohberger. One day. So how much do you want to bet it was never even asked? How much do you want to bet it was never even asked? because they already had a name within 24 hours of that going public. I bet you they never even asked. I'm going to FOIA it. Any investigative records pertaining to name of business, date, timestamp, all the details like always. And I'll be even just as specific and say after December 18th, 2022. I bet you they didn't even ask. I bet you they didn't even freaking ask. They literally shelved unknown male DNA and their actual lead suspect the second they got that call. And that right there is why the Goncalveses get away with saying it's just some little cutesy girl talk shit. Oh, she probably told Adam about Jack and wanting to get back with Jack and blah, 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 blah. Just like the weird chick from 1119 was like, oh my God, she probably told him how hot she thinks he is. His nickname's Hot Adam. Shut up. Shut up. Now I'm just mad. Like I just have a feeling that that's exactly what happened. They got the name and they just didn't give a shit. The date just triggered that whole thing. That's wild as shit. And I forgot what I was looking for. 314. Okay, hold on. 314. Right here. Danny Vargas. Oh, so this is stuff about Molly from Pullman. Yeah, Molly Marie McMichael. So they FOIA'd Molly just like a lot of other people were FOIA'ing Molly. Okay. The 9424, that is the way that where she said something about Kohberger. I'm pretty positive. I already saw a report. I think this is it. Is this not it? Okay, yeah. I saw this the other day and I wanted to do a separate video about this because I don't know why it's like this. I just found it a little bit interesting. So Danny Vargas on 7/9/25, which is a week after, guys, a week after the plea, she writes this report for something, again, that took place after the plea. On June 26, 2025, she reached out to Pullman for any reports, charging documents, and all recordings involving Molly McMichael. After the plea happened. No, lie. Right before the plea happened, but wrote it right after. And remember what we said about Bill Thompson and Molly's relationship. Because in the Brett Payne footage, when he's pulling her over, she looks back at the camera and says, I'm friends with Bill Thompson. The very last police record is from MPD going in and pulling the DoorDash driver's information 4 days before Kohberger signed his plea agreement. And we're supposed to believe that there's no coincidences with that. Bill Thompson's bestie had people looking into her information and getting her arrest records 4 days before Kohberger signed the plea. Now, if we wouldn't have already heard the interview with Brett Payne, where she definitely does not describe Kohberger, what would be the reason for this? What would be the reason for this? This is 4 days before he signed a plea agreement. They're going in and getting all of her arrest records. Whitman County, MPD property records, Pullman property records. And look, they didn't even bother taking her name out right here. I'm pretty sure 9/4 is when she lies and said she parked next to Kohberger. But that's just really convenient timing. That 4 days before we see his signature on a plea. And what date was that too? Hold on. I mean, like, what day of the week was that? Because remember, I was told by Kara that they were going to be having a meeting. So on the 23rd, was it the 23rd that she had that message? And then they met on the 24th. By the 26th, they received an email. Is that even the right thing? Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking 2020. No, I need 2025. Duh, dummy. I knew something sounded freaking wrong. Okay. Yeah, look, the 26th right here. So the say, holy shit. Holy shit. The same day that Kara showed me, they got a last minute Zoom link meeting set up for Friday at noon. They are FOIA-ing Molly McMichael's information about all of her arrests. And again, 4 days before he signed his plea agreement. Ain't that some shit? I did, and again, as you notice, that's the very last narrative. That's the very last narrative for the MPD records. It closes it out. You can't pretend that that doesn't have something to do with what the hell happened here. You'd be a fool to think it doesn't, for sure. Okay, surveillance. Oh, and never mind the fact. See, and like, I'm going to have to do a video like putting this all together again the way we did before, but now with new information. You also cannot deny the fact that Dylan is telling the police that she is seeing in her fake dreams she didn't have a woman in all dark clothing with a big nose coming up to the house. Molly McMichaels has a big nose for a female. She was in dark clothing that night. At 3:51, when she's on the camera, we know that Dylan is up and adding a contact to her phone. And what else do we know? That Emily Allant sends Xana $14 at 3:51. So you're going to tell me that we have all these crazy threes that are insane, on top of seeing them pull 3 different agencies worth of Molly's information 4 days before he signs the plea agreement? No, there's some shady shit right there. Definitely some shady shit right there. Okay, so now it's jumping to supplement number 28, 73, 74, and 130 for Linda Lane surveillance, full unedited sets. That's been out for like a long time from the leak, but then Connor also has those over on his channel. It says that right here they pay the duplication fee. Supplement number 52, vehicle test run videos. City was unable to identify specific responsive records without additional information. It says the supplement, but okay. And then it says light bulb comparison recordings. City unable to verify whether records exist from supplement number 88. I'm going to assume that's the one that Birdie got a while back that we never went over. The drive that they made on the 22nd, I think it was. Yeah. Because Amber had told me about that on the phone. We were asking about what surveillance footage was actually out there. So then we have the 1112 King Road surveillance, 1,464 original clips plus 17 concatenated files, duplication fee. Supplement 136, WSU and Moscow neighborhood cameras, Elantra at 253 and 527. They do not contain No, because it's WSU. Well, no, they would still technically have it. But see, they're also asking like for two different sets of information here. WSU and Moscow neighborhood cameras. See, these are the cameras. We still have some. We still have some footage from them that I haven't been able to get out because the file is so big, like it's hours long. The file is so big that I haven't been able to put it in my editor without my editor crashing. Let's see if I can find it like easier here because I had it to where it was like by itself. No, I'm gonna have to find it. I'm gonna have to find it and get a different kind of editor because it's from the cameras at that intersection. Where the frick did the damn file go? It's from the same intersection that we see where they're having you follow a car with fog lights. That's not the right car. So it's from that spot, which is why I said, like, they have hours and hours and hours and hours of footage. I don't understand how. Oh my God, there's so much. There's so many files right here from Pullman. We need to go, we still need to go back through the Pullman files. You know? There's all kinds of different installs. I've got to get all this stuff organized. I need to get a better editor that doesn't crash. But that's why I said I don't see how when they did the 7-minute thing and realized that it was the wrong car, I don't see how they weren't able to go back into the footage and actually see the car that they're claiming that they're actually looking for. Okay, so then we have the traffic stop with Duke from Latell County. Now, myself tried to request that one 3 times before we finally got access to it. The first time was, I mean, both of the first times were before everything that happened, but there was something that happened while all the hearings were going on with the motions, and Bill Thompson labeled the traffic stop as a public record. So I tried to use the way that it was labeled in a court document as a way for them to like have to give it to me, and it didn't work. They said no. But then we got it, and what did we realize? That it made the cop look bad because the cop lied. The cop pulled Kohberger over for speeding, apparently, and then he asks Kohberger if he had his seatbelt on. And Kohberger could have lied like 1.5 million freaking people would have and said, yep, sure did, because nobody wants to freaking get a damn seatbelt ticket. And if the cop didn't see it, oh, well, that's your bad, bro. I have my seatbelt on. Sucks for you. No, Kohberger was honest. Said no seatbelt. So instead of the cop giving him a speeding ticket for what he actually pulled him over for, what he has him on the radar for doing, he then gives him a ticket for something that he's already admitted that he did not see actually being a situation. And so then Kohberger asks him, like, do you ever take into consideration when people are honest with you? It just seems like Kohberger turned it into a survey, an emotional survey to see how this human was going to react. So could Kohberger have actually had his seatbelt on? Maybe. And maybe he lied to him and actually told him he did it because he wanted to see how he would react. We know that that's what Kohberger does. I mean, if he's autistic, having some sort of like hyperfixation on anything shouldn't bother anyone. It's definitely not out of the ordinary. But to try to figure out humans, I mean, I get that. So regardless, the cop looks bad in the footage. Kohberger looks like he's being honest. The cop looks like he's lying because that's what he's doing. And again, when they submitted this to the court, they were not submitting it for malice, for premeditation, for planning, organizing, stalking, surveilling. We read all those damn 404B rules. They only submitted it for demographics. Because that's the only thing that Idaho actually had with his name in it. It just so happened to be where the cop is lying his ass off. So, of course, they didn't want us to see it. Didn't work very well, but, you know, it is what it is. Okay, then we have supplement number 212, the Indian Mountain Lakes, Pennsylvania gate and aerial surveillance. Okay, this is the supplement I think that I was looking for the other day because I thought that I FOIA'd the drone footage. Somebody mentioned it in here the other day, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, I FOIA'd that. I think they denied it because we never saw it. No, I went through all of my emails, and either I've deleted it and don't see it, and we were denied it, because I feel like that's what happened, but I don't have any proof that that's what's happened. So maybe it's just like, I mean, I know for a fact it's on a list, because I have like 3 different lists for these things. But I guess I didn't. So I went in there to try to find the actual report so that I could file the FOIA while we were live the other day, and I couldn't find it in time. So if this is the right one, which it sounds like it might be, then I'll just use this 212. Because you have to remember, Brett Payne already told us they did not step foot in Kohberger's parents' neighborhood. They watched everything go down, all the organization, the arrest in the middle of the night, everything through the lens of drone footage. Like he either was watching it on like a handheld screen for the drone itself or through an app. They never stepped foot in there. Yeah, this is it right here. Thumb drives. Oh my gosh. On Thursday, June 29, 2023, I located 2 thumb drives containing video surveillance footage of the access gates at Indian Mountain Lakes gated community wherein Kohberger's parents' home was located, and aerial surveillance footage and photos of the Kohberger residence. I verified the thumb drives contain the correct footage and videos and booked them into MPD. But see, this isn't technically the one that I want. Like it is at the same time, but it isn't at the same time. Because the report where he writes what he did, he literally, like in his report, it says that he's watching like through a drone. It uses the word drone and mentions how they were at a command center. Like on the way to the command center, he was watching it on the drone footage. So, well, yeah, that one tells me that they stored it somewhere. Like I still need to find the original one. Okay, so then supplement number 247, FBI CDs of Kohberger Elantra vehicles residents. And okay, see, but I don't know. Is it FBI CDs? I guess I know that if you go to the Pullman website, like their portal, they actually like they have all of that stuff on there, but definitely not the FBI versions of things. Okay, so then let's look at 247. Oh, I went too far. Okay, here we go. 247. Okay, yeah, Kohberger photos from barracks, vehicle, 2 additional vehicles, the house, and then just says vehicle. On October 17th, 2023, FBI Special Agent Hill brought several copies of FBI photos to me on CDs. There were 5 discs provided for MPD, and they contained photos of the 3 vehicles searched at 1119 Lambsden Drive. And in search photos of Kohberger taken at the Stroudsburg PSP barracks. Okay. So that's that one. Oh my God, I'm going to bed so freaking earlier than normal. I'm so freaking tired and I can't stop yawning apparently. Okay, so jail calls. I've asked for these too and I've been denied. There's a video of an inmate on a bus, a transport bus, and he's saying some stuff about Kohberger. And there's a whole report about it, and Payne watches it, and I tried to get it, and they told me no. So, you know, I tried. Supplement number 228, transcription of jail calls. Original audio for Latell County Jail phone system. And then it says that the city does not contain control over these. Yeah, I FOIA'd the jails like straight up 228. Let's go up here. Oh, 228. Okay, yeah, right here. Danny Vargas, Kohberger jail phone calls. On August 3rd, 2023, I booked a DVD into MPD evidence, which contains my working Word document labeled Bryan phone calls of Kohberger's jail phone calls from the time he was in custody at Latell County Jail to present. The transcription of the conversations are not verbatim, which is so ignorant in, 2025, 2026. Like what? The calls highlighted in red are not completed. The calls highlighted in green were listened to by CM with ISP. Is this the same McKenna chick who doesn't know the difference between splatter and spatter? Or is it the other one because there is another CM? There is another CM that we learned about in the emails between Talbot and Rylene Nowlin, where he's mentioning in December that by the 13th, on Friday the 13th, of course it was Friday the 13th. Yeah, on Friday, December the 13th, that this CM person, the full name is in the email, is heading down to Moscow, so they needed to get the chain of custody stuff together. So I guess it could be either or. I'm pretty sure that that's not the only report about that kind of stuff, but I could be wrong. I could have remembered there was like 2, I think. Okay, so supplement 303, inmate housed next to Kohberger, jail call with his mother, any digital audio of Payne's follow-up interview. What do you mean follow-up interview? There wasn't one. The Payne follow-up interview audio, no responsive records exist. Oh, he's talking about the follow-up interview with the inmate. I think this is the one that I asked for. If this is the one that says that the guy was on a bus transport talking to a chick, then this is definitely the one that I tried to get. Hold on, let's see. 303. Well, and that's another thing too. Chris Whitcomb says in his book that there's no notations anywhere of Kohberger ever saying anything at all whatsoever about anything related to the case at all. The whole time that they've had him. Nothing on the phone, nothing in the tablets, nothing in passing. Okay, this one says on Monday, September 16th, 2024, I spoke to blank. Blank was an inmate at the Latell County Jail at the time and had been housed next to Kohberger since August of 2024 until Kohberger's transport to Ada County on September 15th, 2024. I was made aware by Detective Vargas that Blank spoke to Kohberger while on a phone call with his mother. Oh, I think this is the one where Kohberger thought that the guy was talking shit either to him or about his mom, and so he kind of went off on him. Which seems like that's the only instance they ever have of him even raising his voice the whole time. So not the one that I was talking about. That's a different one. Okay. Arrest and extradition from Pennsylvania, PSP, and the FBI materials. Supplement number 135, PSP raid recordings plus a 45-minute Kohberger interview. And yeah, no, they have no control over it. It's all the freaking FBI. It's all the freaking FBI. Let's see what number 135 talks about, though. Let's remember that one. Hold on. 270. Am I tripping? 135 down here. Eee! Okay, right here. Payne. Okay, let's see if this is the one. This might be the one I was looking for earlier. Based off information obtained during the course of the investigation, I applied for an arrest warrant for Bryan C. Kohberger. Previous search warrants and information led investigators to believe Kohberger left Pullman, Washington and returned to his parents' home, blah, 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 blah. At approximately 1 a.m. on 12/30, PSP team conducted an operation at blank and took Kohberger into custody based off of the warrant signed. Kohberger was taken to a nearby PSP barracks. Okay, this is another thing. Gilbertson and his little biatch little self trying to say anything about, oh, it's just something else they can obsess over about the knife sheath being on the floor with the text messages that Christy claims that, you know, she got from him. This idiot didn't even fill out a damn report. See how it says right here, see Sergeant Gilbertson's report on the interview for full details, and it's talking about the Kohberger interview. He never wrote a damn report. I FOIA'd it. It doesn't exist. It was never written. So Payne wrote it in here, and Gilbertson never did it. And whose pocket recorder is missing? Gilbertson's. Yeah. The guy that didn't write a report is the same guy that lost the pocket recorder. Yeah. And it's also hilarious how Christy's so ignorant to sit there and even listen to anything that man has to say. Was he even at the scene? Like to walk in and actually see the sheath? Because unless he was there before it was actually collected, how can he even answer her question? If he was not there and to see it with his own freaking eyeballs, how can he even answer her about it being an error or anything else? How would he know shit about shit unless he was actually there before it was picked up? So now I'm going to go back into the body cam and I'm going to see if I can see if he shows up and when he shows up. Because if he shows up hours after the fact, then you ain't got room to talk, Haas. Shut up. You didn't see anything. Unless you were there within the first few minutes, shut your mouth because you can't answer questions. And unless you walked into that crime scene actually and walked up into that third floor, literally at all, don't answer anything. Just because you were lead later on doesn't mean shit. So I don't know how he thinks he can just answer questions that he has no firsthand knowledge of. And they just believe it. Does she not like register it in her mind that he can't actually answer that question because he wasn't there in the very beginning before anything could have actually happened to know that? He doesn't actually know from looking at the scene itself what it looked like? No, it's okay because we're the ones coming up with all the stuff that's actually happening. The guilter side are the people, the innocent people side are the people that are going in and getting the information. So because it's not coming from the guilter side, nobody cares. The Goncalveses think it's a joke. They don't give a shit about none of it. But if it was one of their little weirdos that were uncovering this shit, or if Gray Hughes would be over there having a holy cow fit about the damn knife sheath being on the floor, the Goncalveses would be up in arms trying to fight Bill Thompson for real in real life. But because it's us, they don't give a shit about all these problems. How can you say that you care about this investigation and give a shit about your child's situation, their murder, the non-justice, the nothing answers, the bullshit here? You see these discrepancies. You see the amount of incompetence, and you just brush it aside the same way that Moscow did everybody but Bryan Kohberger the second they get the FBI call, simply because you don't like where the information's coming from. How stupid. How ignorant. How immature. Good thing we're not doing this for them, right? Supplement number 184. The Pennsylvania State Police working copies? Of what? Working copies of what? Hold on. 320? Nope. $184. Pass it up. Throughout the course of this investigation, I received working copies of reports, videos of interviews, and tactical briefs and reports from the Pennsylvania State Police. I received these items from Detective Justin Leary and the PSP CERT Team Commander. On Wednesday, April 12th, 2023, I compiled these working copies into one file and uploaded the file to a hard drive. I booked the hard drive into MPD evidence on the same day. The originals will be maintained by PSP per their policy. So the Pennsylvania State Police kept their own copies, but the city attorney is lying to EWU in their response, saying they don't maintain control or authority to disseminate these records. But it literally says, I booked the hard drive into MPD evidence Miss Ma'am, that means you do have control and authority and custodianship over those records. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? Supplement 212, see above, but for item 755, and it's the same response. I feel like we just looked at 212. Did we just look at 212? Yeah, up here for the Indian Gate thing. Supplement number 247. Did we look at that one already? Yeah. FBI CDs of Kohberger, Elantra vehicles and residence. That's crazy. She just be lying all the time. She just lies all the time. Okay, physical evidence, body-worn camera photos. Supplement number 125 for Gunderson and Nunes with Murphy and Snyder photos. Included with the stuff up there with the $30 duplication fee. Supplement number 257, FBI soil provenance analysis and any lab, blah, blah, blah documentation. I'm only going to check to see if they say that they sent it over there. Because they can't keep saying that they're not the custodian of the record. If every time we open a damn report, it says that they sent it to MPD and actually booked it for them. Like, damn. Okay, let's see. Well, it says see attached for further details. That means something was attached to this. I'm guessing the report. I attached the PDF of this report to the Spillman case file. Maybe they can't access it or be custodians of it if it's in the Spillman files. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Digital forensic audio video, supplement number 105, Kohberger phone extraction. They already said they weren't going to give that to them. But, ooh, this thing's tripping. Let me restart it. Let's see. .105. Ooh, my throat started to tickle again. Let's see. 08. Okay, 105. Okay. Okay, look. I applied for and was granted a warrant seeking the evidence from the hard drive provided by Pennsylvania, which contains a forensic image of Bryan Kohberger's phone, which was stored in the secured computer forensic lab at the Moscow Police Department. Oh. This says that after he was done looking at stuff, it got sent back to the court. That it got sent back to the court. Okay, well, that one doesn't say that it was booked back into MPD evidence. It says it was sent back to the court, which is different because we do know that there was some motions that were filed by the state for them to go into the courtroom, where, like, into the courthouse, wherever stuff gets stored, and remove everything that they had used for the grand jury. So basically, just so that they could turn around and resubmit them as exhibits for the trial. It was kind of stupid. But it was like a whole thing. Supplement number 196, AT&T data, raw data. They said that they don't have any of that stuff. Yeah, MPD wouldn't have had any of that stuff. Tips and outside leads with recordings or media. Chief Fry tip interview. This is the one with the Scott guy, I think. Let me go back to Connor's channel. This is the one where the guy talked about the Gabe kid who has it in for the sororities because of his mom. Is that the right one? Yeah, 12, 13, 22. That is the one. That's like the only one that Chief Fry worked on, which I also found strange. So I don't know if Connor paid for the full thing or if he only paid a duplication fee. I'll have to go back and check the master list for that one. But it says right here that they would have charged $235.99 for staff time plus $174 for the administrative fee. So then we have supplement number 159, FBI email tip regarding a K-bar knife at OSU. Request original email and intake audio. Okay, so let's go down to 159. Let's do 275. Hundo. $325. 159 up here. What the frick? Oh, it's still 157. And I was like, holy shit, it skipped it. Okay. January 23rd, 2023, the FBI. The FBI. See right here, FBI. Tip line received an email from AH, which stated Kohberger attended PhD courses at Oklahoma State University. I remember reading this one. Yeah, no, he didn't. Literally ever. Literally ever. So even though we know from Kohberger's history that he never went to Oklahoma for college, EWU was still wasting time to get that information. Okay. So then the next one is 160, and it says dancer tip. I think I remember this one too. Oh my God, it just skipped on me. Damn it. Okay, 160. On Friday, March 3rd, 2023, I spoke to VH on the phone, reference a tip she reported to the tip line. I did not record our conversation. See, why are they asking for request original tip line recording? Oh, the original tip line recording, not the phone call. Okay. Okay. She said she was working as a dancer at blank on blank club in blank during 2018 to 2019, which is a 2-hour drive from blank, Pennsylvania. And then they didn't redact the girl's name, and it says Hoffer stated she was unaware which of these 2 years the encounter took place. So her name, considering the length, is either Vanessa or Victoria. We have a Victorine that's been on the channel for some years now. Those are like really the only ones that I can really think of when it comes to a V name. So they just didn't even bother redacting her last name right there. Stated she came into work on what she described on a slow day and noticed only one man seated next to the stage alone. Hoffer stated she got on the stage and began her dance when she noticed the man seemed to be talking to himself. Yeah, this is like just a whole thing of like nothingness at all. So they were just trying to get like a bunch of the dumb boo-boo. Okay, well, it says that they could get this. Cost estimate to be provided separately. Why? Extra I stands for idiots. It seems to be y'all are agreeing. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, so then supplement number 263, the Tinder match K-bar knife reference, delivery driver tip, request FBI MPD intake audio, and voicemails. What are you freaking talking about? Holy shit. Then they're at 2 something. Like we're skipping 100 of them now. What number? 263. Right here. Wednesday, March 13th, 2024, I received an email from Blaker, who still receives voicemail tips in reference to the case. The first tip was called in by a KC. She stated she thought she had matched with Kohberger in September or October of 2022. Elaborate the voicemail, stated she signed up for Tinder in September or October, unable to match with anyone in her area. Paid additional Tinder feature, which allowed her to move her PIN anywhere in the country to see if she could match with someone. So she matched with Kohberger for a short time and began talking to him, blah, 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 blah. I remember reading this one because they ended up talking to her another time because they couldn't get any information from the information she was giving them. Like, they couldn't get any information when they filed a search warrant or anything like that. It wasn't showing up as valid, the username or anything that she had. And she didn't have anything on her phone that she could show them either to prove that she'd actually talked to Kohberger. So I don't know if that's the chick, the redheaded girl that we saw come out, because I said the same thing about her. I said, no, she's never provided proof that she spoke to him. She's never provided proof that she matched with him on a dating app. She just came out here with the story and everyone just believed her and put her in front of a camera because they needed something juicy, because that's how they are. But she never provided literally a damn shred of anything at all, which is just, tells you everything about the way that mainstream actually does things. Beyond stupid. Physical handwritten letters from tipster. See, this one, I'm not really quite understanding this one. Because if this is the one, is this the sorority stuff? Which report was that? See, there was one where a lady with the same initials as Molly goes to the police department and has Brett Payne meet her outside. And they're sitting outside and she hands him a handwritten note that has like all this information in it about a guy that she like thinks might be involved. But then at the end of the conversation, she takes the letter back from Brett and then leaves. And it doesn't seem like he recorded the conversation or anything. So when I was reading that one, I was like, well, I guess maybe I could go in and I can request the camera footage, because we know that MPD has cameras outside. And then maybe we can try to see like who the frick that actually was. So if that's the same one, I'm going to be kind of shocked. Let's see, 308. Yeah, this is it. On Friday, December 2nd, MM came into MPD, requested to speak to me in reference to a tip concerning the homicides. It's Brett Payne. M began by sliding me a note that asked if MPD was looking for a second person who could be responsible for the homicides. The note described a male, and the bottom said if MPD was not looking for another person to slide the note back to her and she would leave. I told her it was our duty to investigate tips that could result in exculpatory information. M reluctantly slid me another stack of handwritten letters. I read most of these letters and learned they concerned ZF and then this M name. The letters described how F had lived near 1122 King Road approximately 6 months prior to the homicides and had made comments to M about how the parties kept him up at night. M also wrote F had been behaving strangely after the homicides and had injuries to his hands. The rest of the letters concerned F's other behavior and suspected hacking activities, according to M. M also stated she gave consent for her DNA kits to be submitted in reference to a past unrelated report from August of 2022 to be used. In talking with M, I learned F's strange behavior, not talking to M for extended periods of time, showing her memes at strange times, riding his scooter to Pullman, had been ongoing for several years prior to the homicides. M seemed concerned that F had psychotic tendencies and made her nervous at times. M stated F wore gloves almost always and had wounds on his hands and face on more than one occasion, which he stated were from scooter crashes. Aside from the fact that F lived near 1122 King Road, I later confirmed he lived at blank until June of 2022 and behaved strangely. M did not have further reason to suspect him as being involved. She was mostly concerned about his ongoing strange behavior. I told M if his behavior ever made her fear for her life to call 911. She said she would do so. I thanked M for her time. Oh, he does have the letters. Okay, so I, for some reason, remembered all the other shit. And then at the end of it, I guess I didn't realize he kept them. She left the letters with me, which I have attached to this case. Based off blank statements and lack of corroboration for F being involved in this case, I shall not be investigating further. What corroboration? Did you even look into anything? Did you even bother? He didn't even bother. Okay, well, you know, something else, I guess. So they didn't pay for this. For all of the letters that she handed to him, they wanted them to pay like $230. Look. 200 and wow, for letters. That means that they would be going in there and redacting shit tons of the information that she wrote in there for that to be the fee. $175 and $55 for letters. Well, I can say it's definitely on the list now. And not just that, but like multiple? Yeah, a stack. So she can speak because they're having a conversation. But she writes all this stuff down in letters and gives it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. October 1st, 2025. It's talking about the permanent injunction again. Which is like irrelevant to anything that we're talking about with their stuff. Honestly. So I'm not going to read all of this stuff because it's basically the same shit that we just saw. In way of them like denying everything. But this is what Mia Batista, however you say her name. This is what she submitted. This is what she submitted. And there's Amber's name. That's who we always freaking deal with. Who we always deal with. So this is just her side of the rundown and then attachment of her emails that she sent that are the basis for what they just wrote down in their entire spreadsheet that we just went over. Lack of itemization, it'll be $20,000, blah, 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 blah. None of my letters ever looked like this. This is so foreign. Like this part right here, Amber's name, legal assistant, City of Moscow, phone number, email. That's the only part on this that looks like I've seen it before. Like the format and everything is just off. Yeah, it says the city has been transparent and made available for free to the public the Moscow Police Department police records. The city does not intend to make any other records related to the Kohberger case available in that manner. Meaning, you're getting our little trash papers, and that's all that you get for free. Everything else, you better sell your firstborn child. Okay, so I think these are just like questions that were sent over. Okay, let's see right here. Okay, before addressing the substance, we need confirmation. Is EWU Media's request currently considered open and in the processing queue? We do not want to lose our place in line due to ongoing discussions about cost, scope, or appeal, blah, blah, blah. Prior statements about video releases. On a prior phone call with our general manager, city records staff stated the video records related to the Kohberger case would be posted on the city's website after the police reports were released. So Amber was telling people that the videos were going to be released for free. So does that mean that they originally wanted to release all of the videos for free and then last minute decided not to? You greedy bastards. Because that's what it sounds like. These shifting answers are not only frustrating, they undermine trust in the process. Yeah. That representation was clear and unambiguous. Now in writing, the city states it does not intend to make any other records available in that manner, meaning on the website. These shifting answers are not only frustrating, they undermine trust in the process. We are simply asking for consistency. If the original plan was to post the videos publicly after the reports, please explain why that has changed and whether the decision applies to all requesters or just to some. I was never told that. But it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. That's crazy. That's crazy. Residency-based priority is not permitted under IPRA, meaning that they can't put Idaho citizens in front of people that don't live in Idaho. It has to come in order by the way that it was actually requested. While we understand the needs to recover actual labor costs under Idaho code, blah, 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 the current 300 plus hours, $20,000 estimate remains unitemized. Yeah, because you're just pulling it out of your ass. Try to scare people away from even asking for information. That's what you were doing. Yes, your request is still open. You have not lost your place in line. I cannot speak to any representation you say were made to you previously from someone outside the legal department, but the city is not going to be releasing it. That's your FOIA officer, chick. So I don't want to hear, oh my God, well, you know, you can't listen to anything from anybody outside of legal. She's your freaking FOIA officer. She's your paralegal. She is the one who goes and searches the information. She's literally part of the freaking FOIA process. You see how dumb she already sounds? This is the kind of stupid shit that she was saying to me, that she did not know who was the last touch. She didn't know who was responsible for making attachments were attached, that all the information was redacted correctly. She had no answers for me. None. It was the most dumbed down freaking phone call I've had in a really long time. Ridiculous. And it's basically saying, be more specific. I don't care what you said. They said to you, it doesn't matter. And if you disagree, you can handle it other ways. Is basically what she says here. Basically what is said here. Verifying our requests, video records, body-worn camera footage, Some agencies break our request down into installments, which we're more than happy to do to make things easier for all involved on our request. When we spoke to someone by phone on the day the reports were uploaded, we were told that video records would also be uploaded to the portal. It now seems they may have been a misunderstanding. No worries. We want to clarify next steps. But if they said that to EWU, who else did they say that to? Because if they can get a whole bunch of people, to come in and be like, no, you literally told us in the very beginning that once the regular public reports were out, then the video reports were out, then I wonder if something could actually happen in court if multiple people were told that and then they ixnayed, took it back. I wonder. Thank you for your modification, but it still sucks. Redacting and preparing for release of body-worn camera footage of the responding officers. If you read the reports, you will note many officers responded to the crime scene or to the neighboring residents, etc., on that date to conduct their investigation, which generated a large amount of video records. Any specific details you can provide, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the only thing that this showed us is that EWU is horrible at filing FOIA requests. And I am honestly shocked as shit that they have been as successful as they have been because of how they put their requests together. I am honestly just really surprised by how not professional and detailed their shit is. I'm really surprised. For real. I wonder how they've gotten away with being so bad at this for so long. I really do. No. I can check real quick when we went over it, because usually I'll put something in the description box or something is said in the very beginning of the video, or I pull it up because I usually use the record as like the back of the thingy. Well, actually, Miller Time, what you need to do is not worry about the report. You need to go listen to the interviews, because the reports don't have everything. And if they have stuff that in the interview itself is redacted, it's not written like in the report. So I guess the only way to figure that out is to, I guess, open these. Let me open the first one and check the transcript and see if he mentions anything about Taco Bell when we went over this live. We went over his first one. Is this the first one? No, it's not. Okay, we went over his second one, which was technically his person of interest elimination interview on 11/18. We went over that one on January 30th of this year. Let me check the transcripts and see if he mentions Taco Bell. Taco. Yep. Oh, nope. That's me talking, I think. Hold on. Okay, no, somebody said something about Taco Bell and I'm responding to their comment. Hold on. See, okay, more people talking about Taco Bell. Okay, I can't find anything where he's saying it. Everything in the transcription is me asking about it. Okay, so it was an article. Did I pull it up? Yeah. So let me show you all this. So we looked at this right here, where he said to the person that he did this interview with, and this looks like, is this Daily Mail? This Daily Mail? I think it's Daily Mail. He said, he said, swiftly eliminated from inquiries, having provided officers with a wealth of digital data and the timed receipt from the Taco Bell to which he went after dropping the girls back home. Okay, so let me keep checking. I'm going to take a screenshot. That's me talking. Well, I don't think he says anything about it here. This might be it right here.
I kind of ease off the caffeine so I could actually go to sleep. I couldn't tell you when the last time I stopped was. It was probably at the stinker station next to Tri-State on the Moscow Pullman Highway. I go there pretty frequently.
Taco Bell?
Sometimes I go to EWU, but I don't think I even went there at all that night.
When do you eat?
He doesn't say it.
I usually eat dinner around kind of a normal time, take a break, whatever.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Waiting for him to say Taco Bell, but apparently he doesn't. Okay, so yeah, he's up here. He's talking about stopping at a gas station.
I can't think of anything right now. If we get a hold of you, would you? Okay. So I'm interested in the videos. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're going to either task you with that, or we'll ask how we can do it. But we're interested in that video because obviously there's that.
Yeah.
Did you stop and talk to anybody else other than your passengers in your car? So did you pull up to get something to eat somewhere and talk to somebody? Did you pull into Starbucks to get something to drink?
Not after that. I stopped by some of the gas stations sometimes to get energy drinks and stuff like that. But at that point in the night, I was pretty much trying to kind of ease off the caffeine so I could actually go to sleep. I couldn't tell you when the last time I stopped was. It was probably at the stinker station next to Tri-State on the Moscow Pullman Highway. I go there pretty frequently.
Taco Bell?
Sometimes I go to A&W, but I don't think I even went there at all that night.
So if he's saying that that's actually where he's
I usually eat dinner around kind of a normal time,
actually,
break,
like,
whatever.
is he trying to say that the stinker station is actually where he did stop that night?
Not after that. I stop by some of the gas stations sometimes to get energy drinks and stuff like that. But at that point in the night, I was pretty much trying to kind of ease off the caffeine so I could actually go to sleep. I couldn't tell you when the last time I stopped was. It was probably at the stinker station next to Tri-State on the Moscow Pullman Highway. I go there pretty frequently.
Taco Bell?
Sometimes I go to A&W, but I don't think I even went there at all that night.
When do you eat?
I usually eat dinner around kind of a normal time, take a break, whatever.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Waiting for him to say Taco Bell. So this is where it is. It's by the house. Like, not like right by the house, but like this is the shopping center area. See all the stores? And he said near Tri-State. Tri-State Distributors is right here. So this would be the gas station that he's claiming that he went to that night, is what it sounds like. Right here. But apparently he doesn't. Let's see if I see it anywhere else in here. Yeah, I don't, he didn't say shit about Taco Bell. Well, I guess that's our answer, Miller Time. I guess that's our answer. So the Daily Mail article seems to be the people that put that information in there, and he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything about Taco Bell. So really, like, the person who wrote that article needs to be questioned and asked, where did you get that information? Because we have the interviews now, and Taco Bell's not mentioned at all. So where'd you get this info? See, that's what pisses me off, is that they can write articles like that, and then they never have to make retractions. They never have to make corrections, because no one ever holds them accountable for shit. And, you know, I still never got a response from Chris Holland. So now I'm going to try one more time to send the exact same message I sent it to a different media, a different way to, like, try to get in contact with him. Because he hasn't answered in a week at this point about why he's telling people that Xana's blood is in the kitchen when that swab tested negative for blood and was never sent off for testing. And he hasn't said anything. No, I'm glad we went back over that, because I honestly didn't remember either until we started looking at it. But it's good to go back and see that, because that Taco Bell shit with that damn driver caused all kinds of issues. All kinds of stuff came from just that one thing from that article. So no, it's good to, like, refresh ourselves with the bullshit that came out, because you go back and you look at it and you're like, where did you even get that? Where in the world would you even get that information? And if he had such a thing, you'd think that he would not just show it to the people writing a bullshit article, that he would have showed it to the cops. And he apparently didn't. Apparently didn't. So crazy. So insane. Oh, thank you for the 2, Sharon. Don't stop yapping. Please keep it up. It's stressful to have so many thoughts in your brain. Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. So much corruption. I appreciate that. Thank you. How are you doing? A member for 16 months. That's such a long time. Thank you so much for coming in here tonight. Came in late, but appreciate your hard work, Jules. Well, I appreciate you, Tiki Bar, for coming in here. Thank you so much for the 5. I appreciate you guys. Jules Deception. Maybe I should change the channel name. Jules Deception. Maybe. I mean, I'm already mad. I'm already pissed. Everything pisses me off in this case. Everything. So crazy. So crazy. So I was going to put this little video out earlier and then ran out of time. I'm going to tell you guys now because you're in here, and then I'll post this tomorrow. So the person that did that extremely ridiculously detailed timeline, the Accomplished Day username that's been like going around over the past week or so, they tried to FOIA after we see Dylan admitting in the unredacted pieces of the interview that she spoke to Quinn Kelly. So the Accomplished Day person went to FOIA Quinn Kelly interview information. And Moscow never talked to Quinn Kelly. The FBI talked to Quinn Kelly. So whatever was said, we'll never know because the FBI is the only entity that spoke to Quinn Kelly. The same way that MPD never spoke to Bryan Kohberger's parents. You've got Dylan now telling you that she contacted him and that they spoke while she was running between her room and Bethany's, and MPD didn't talk to him. They sent me, like the person sent me the way that MPD responded to their response. So I put it together just to like throw it out there because we've been questioning, did he even talk to her? Because if you look at the damn bubble text and the like activity, there's like 19 seconds of a phone call. And then there's like 10 seconds in between two messages. It doesn't look like they had a conversation. So I think it's just another one of Dylan's lies. I think she probably did try to contact him, but obviously from the timing, no one had a convo. How do you not talk to him? As the Moscow Police Department, that's the lead agency, how do you not talk to him to get her impressions or get his phone information or something about what she said to him in that time frame? If you're going to go check everybody else's freaking phones, why are you not going and talking to Quinn Kelly? The FBI did. And that was basically Connor's response. Well, at least the FBI talked to him because, I mean, at least we got that. At least we got that with the bullshit. I just don't know how. There you are. They're the ones who got it. This is the person that did that crazy ass timeline. Yeah, I just can't believe that they didn't talk to him. Because, like, that's not information that they would have found out so far down the line that the FBI is already so involved that MPD wouldn't have something to do with anything. So why the FBI and not the Idaho State Police? The way they did everyone else's. That's crazy. That is so freaking crazy. Right? Exactly. There's usually always a local person involved. But then everything that they've already said, like there's no point in even trying to fight them because the FBI is just loaning them their info. It's so weird. Yeah, I don't either. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Moscow report number 10. Moscow report number 10. Let's see what that one is. Is that the original one with Maori? God. Reading anything from that imbecile. It gives me a migraine. Okay, let's see. Jacob Tesdall. Oh yeah, this is about the officer, the guy, the cop. Yeah, I have so much that I just added to mine too. I haven't even been able to however I have to move it over to the big master one. It's insane that there's so much information that so many people are trying to get. That should tell you, there's so many people that have been sort of just in the background trying to get info that don't have channels, that don't come out here and just talk about every little thing that they try to get in their conversations and stuff. There's been a lot of people really trying to do stuff behind the scenes and get information. So that should definitely tell these people that there's a huge interest in what's happening here and that we definitely feel like someone's not being honest. Okay, let's see. So this is MPD report number 10. Yeah, this is the one where he basically says that he sees like a blonde person or like two blonde people like going either towards or away from the house. And then seeing a vehicle, yeah. But everything he said was like, yeah, I don't really, I'm just not really sure. And then this is Banfield right here. And then they cleared the Banfield at 3:32. My recollection, there was at least two individuals, possibly three. I recall one of the individuals having blonde hair. Only one, though? Because, like, almost everybody but Ethan and Xana are blonde. Yeah, so he saw people, and then he saw a vehicle, but he says he can't say that he saw them at the exact same time and that they cleared the Banfield at 3:32. Yeah, and he didn't have like there's no dash cam. Like this report right here is why the majority of people, including myself, think that the car that's on the camera is their car. Each time we patrolled this area, I drove the same route. So the same like loop, constantly looking like a stalker. Going back over and over and over and over and over. No car ever leaves on the video. What do you mean, for up here? Well, this says that this is him reviewing his radio history. But it definitely shows there was other vehicles driving around while they were driving around. I saw several individuals approaching the residence at 1122 King Street. During this detail, I was looking for alcoholic beverages, open alcoholic containers, and individuals who appeared to be intoxicated between 2 and 3. I mean, between 2 and 3 is when Murphy was missing. Between 2 and 3 is when the girls were looking for Murphy. Between 2 and 3 is when we see that car pull up, say something about, come here, doggy, or whatever he says something. And then the car leaves and the girls are still looking for Murphy. And then closer to 3 o'clock, I think it's like 2:57, 2:58, somewhere around there. That's where we hear Murphy. So maybe it was the girls looking for the dog that he saw. And maybe the car is related to that situation, but I don't think so. The car, I feel like when Murphy got dropped back off, I feel like the lights that you see in this window in the front house, like that biped or whatever, you double house or whatever, you can tell it's like a duplex, I guess, but like a horizontal duplex where the people come out later, they take off in the car with the dog and they come back. Y'all know which house I'm talking about. It looks like there's a car that pulls into the White's apartment parking lot and there's lights on that window. And then right after that, less than like a minute or so after that, you hear them calling for Murphy. So I wonder if the car came to pick up, like came and got Murphy and took off and they parked at the White's parking lot to let Murphy run up those steps in between the two apartment places that go straight to the King Road parking lot. Because I bet you that's what he saw. Was probably them looking for Murphy, I bet. Just because of the timing. So who knows? Who knows? There's 1,000 I closed out my whole browser. I was so done with reading this shit. I just closed out the whole thing. I did redact myself again. Just close the whole thing off. I'm done with you. Too much. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm here. Okay. But now it's time to get off of here. Thank you for coming in here and going over that with me. Thank you, Sarah, for grabbing those and putting those on Twitter so that we could see that they were out there. I didn't see anything new in the case of interest website. Let me check one more time. Because I don't really think there's going to be anything anytime soon. I need to check with Sarah and see if she's noticed if we are waiting for anything else or if that third order is done, because she keeps really like perfect track of that stuff. So the fourth order that we should be getting should be starting stuff from 2024. Yeah. So that's when we should start getting some of the information that was withheld from us when it comes to the motions to suppress for a lot of stuff. I mean, we had a lot of information that was given to us in all of it. The apartment warrant, Apple, arrest warrant, cell phone, Elantra, first warrant, search for Kohberger, trace and trap, Apple, all kind of stuff, Amazon, all kind of stuff. Oh my God, there's so many things. So we'll see how they do, but I guess we're waiting. I know Sarah's so freaking organized, it's crazy. But I guess we're waiting for the fourth order to come through. I just don't know. There's a lot of stuff happening like in the background, because that whole investigation into the leak is still happening, and we know that now it's a criminal situation. So I wonder if he's going to like put off putting out the fourth order until something happens with that. I don't know. Hitler doesn't do anything that makes any freaking sense either. So I guess we'll just see. I guess we'll just see what happens. But I mean, what's the date? It is, Jesus Christ. It is July 24th. And we haven't had a single document new release since the restitution information back on April 15th. When did the third order come out? I feel like it was like October of last year. October 16th. Oh my God. October 16th. It took them 8 months. 8 months to unseal that shit. And Ann Taylor is getting paid $200 an hour to do it. Insane. Oh, thank you for the additional gift of memberships, Miller Time. Congratulations to those who got those. We got quite a few new members tonight. Don't forget, we do have our members only thingy-mablobber happening. Let me go ahead and give y'all the link so y'all can go ahead and get your notifications set. And they're ad-free. They only have to be public for the giveaway thingy to attach to the stream and actually get in the chat and grab y'all's names and stuff like that. But the stream, the chat itself is members only, and there's no ads for members only lives. Here is the link for that one. It'll be the 29th. It'll be the 29th. We're going to do at least 3 giveaways. Hey there, Melinda. 33 months. 33 months. That is such a long time. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is crazy. Thank you so much for being here for so long. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Okay, guys. Bro. Yeah, no, she charges $103 an hour. That's why I said the majority of the money that we spent on those cameras, the 1112 camera, was the however many hours long the footage actually is at the end of everything, that she sat there and had to watch it. You know damn well she didn't. You know, she let it play in the background and went on about her business, like she does with practically all of them, because look how many redactions are done incorrectly. How many names do we have because they did not do the one job that they had? It's so bad. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. So much. All right. Thank you all for being in here tonight. You will see me tomorrow, but it will be posted videos because we have a day away from the house planned. Depending on what time we get back, we might go live late to do the Chapter 11 review because I've already read it and highlighted everything. And we just might, because I don't sleep. So we just might. I don't know. For sure, you'll see me in a posted video, probably a premiere, so you guys can talk. Because I know y'all like to have conversations while the videos play. But yeah. And I'll tell y'all what we did tomorrow after it's done, because you never tell people what you're doing when you're doing it. That's how people get got. You just don't tell people what you're doing live. You always tell them after. So I'm going to tell you tomorrow what we did tomorrow. And I think that's it. You guys have a super great night. You guys have a super great night. And again, I appreciate all of the super stickers, the super chats, the members that came in, the new members that joined themselves, the gifted memberships, and again, just you guys being in here and caring about going over all this stuff, even when it's lame little FOIA things, because all the little details matter. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much again for being in here. Y'all have a super, super great night. See y'all. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that the notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives.